Buying a new car in 2025 could be one of the worst financial decisions you ever make. Or is it? Stay tuned to find out. It's me. Welcome to my channel. Buying a new car might not be a good idea in 2025. Before we get into it though, if you're new here, welcome to the team. Join us every week for our early retirement tips and tricks. Let's jump right into today's topic. So the question for today's video is, should you buy a new or used car in 2025? And the answer to that question is simple. Really? It all depends on what your goals are. But there's a little bit more to unpack there. Let's start with new cars. There are many reasons someone would want to buy a brand new car. Maybe you want the latest technology, or you want to ensure that there are no problems with the car because you know it hasn't been driven yet. You can go to the dealership and drive off in a brand new car today. But the reality is, buying a new car is expensive. Not only will you pay full price for the car, but you'll also be paying for the dealer markup, which is becoming less and less common, but some dealers still do it. Plus, you'll pay sales tax on the full value of the vehicle. And let's not forget, as soon as you drive that car off the lot, it loses about 10% of its value instantly. And over the first few years, you'll continue to lose value. The average new car loses about 63% of its value in the first 5 years. So what should you do then? Well, obviously, you don't want to throw your money away. So before you buy a new car, consider leasing instead. Leasing allows you to drive a newer car without having to pay the full cost. Instead, you're essentially renting the car for a set period of time. Now, there are a couple downsides to this. You won't ever own the car, no matter how long you lease it. You'll also typically need to put a security deposit down, and you'll be responsible for any damage to the vehicle when you return it. Now, there's also a benefit to leasing a car, especially right now. With interest rates being so high, you can lease a brand new car with very little money down and for a lower monthly payment than you would if you were to finance a used car. However, the problem with leasing is that at the end of your lease term, you'll either need to return the car or buy it. And based on what we talked about earlier, you'll likely owe more on the car than what it's actually worth. This happens because most leases are structured so that you pay less in the first few years of the lease and more in the later years. This is to account for the fact that most cars depreciate more in the first few years than they do later on. But with the chip shortage and supply chain issues causing a used car shortage and driving up prices, depreciation has slowed down on most vehicles. In fact, according to Cox Automotive, only 21% of used cars sold in November of 2023 were more than 3 years old. So what does that mean for you? It means that if you're leasing a car right now, you may end up owing more on it than it's actually worth when it's time to turn it in. Okay, great. So we know new cars aren't a great deal. We know leasing might not be a great deal either. So what should you do? Well, buying a used car is probably your best option, especially if you're looking to save money. Here's why. When you buy a used car, you're buying it from someone who already took the biggest hit on the car's depreciation. So if you buy a car that's 2 years old, you'll typically pay about 30 to 40% less than what the person paid for it when it was new. On top of that, you'll pay less in sales tax because you're paying less overall for the car. There are also fewer fees associated with buying a used car. For example, you won't have to pay for a vehicle, registration, or emissions testing, which are fees that are typically required when you buy a new car. Now, there are some downsides to buying a used car. First, you never really know how well the car was taken care of or how much it was driven. You could potentially be buying someone else's problems. And second, you may not be able to find the exact car you want. For example, maybe you're looking for a specific model with certain features, but all the ones you find online are either too expensive or have too many miles. However, this doesn't mean you shouldn't buy a used car. It just means you need to do your research before you buy. Check the car's history report. Get a pre-purchase inspection and be prepared to walk away if the car isn't what you expected. Another great thing about buying a used car is that you can often finance one for less than a new car. And with interest rates where they are, this is a great option. For those who don't have the cash to buy a car outright, however, you need to be careful here because some dealers will try to trick you into buying a more expensive car by lowering your monthly payment. They'll increase the loan term or decrease your down payment. Just remember, the longer you take to pay off a loan, the more interest you'll pay overall. So don't extend your loan term just to lower your monthly payment. Also, don't put down less money up front. Putting down more money will result in a higher monthly payment, but it'll also result in less interest paid over the life of the loan. And finally, be wary of the dealer add-ons when you're buying a used car. Dealers will often try to sell you things like extended warranties or gap insurance, but these can be expensive and often unnecessary. Extended warranties can cost thousands of dollars, and gap insurance is only necessary if you plan on leasing your car. Do your research before you buy any add-ons and make sure they're right for you. Before we wrap up, let's talk about certified pre-owned vehicles. These are used cars that have been inspected and certified by the manufacturer. They usually come with a warranty and have a lower mileage than other used cars. Certified pre-owned vehicles are a great option if you want the peace of mind that comes with buying a used car that's been inspected. However, they can be more expensive than a comparable used car that hasn't been certified. So make sure to do your research and compare prices before you buy. Ultimately, the decision of whether to buy a new or used car is a personal one. There's no right or wrong answer. It all depends on your individual needs and preferences. However, if you're looking to save money, buying a used car is almost always the better option. Do you let the dealer talk you into buying a new car just because you can afford the monthly payment? Remember, you'll pay less in upfront costs with a used car, and you'll pay less in monthly payments if you finance it. So do your research, shop around, and be patient. The perfect used car is out there for you. If you enjoyed this video, you might like our video on the best cars to buy in 2025. Click here to check it out. And if you've made it to this point in the video, I'm guessing you love cars. So be sure to follow for more videos just like this one. Thanks for watching.